APS students. Welcome to At Home with APS. We are so happy you've joined us this week, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Mosley and I'm a reading specialist from Dr. Charles R. Drew Elementary School. And today we're going to do some phonemic awareness activities. What we're going to be doing today is really thinking about phonemes or individual sounds. You won't need anything to do these activities. All you need is your ears to listen. You can use your hands to follow along with the hand motions I'm doing and your mouth. I definitely want to hear you saying the words too. So to start off, we're going to be adding phonemes or sounds to a word. Let me show you what that will look like. So I would say lane, and then you would say lane, and I would say put a P in front, and we have, and you would say plane. Let's give it a try. Let's get started. Rack.
Rack.
Put a K in front, and we have
crack.
Good job. Rise.
Rise.
Put a P in front, and we have
prize.
lap.
Lap.
Put a S in front, and we have
slap.
Good work. Rib.
Rib.
Put a K in front, and we have
crib.
Good work. Rink.
Rink.
Put a B in front, and we have
brink.
Good. Mile.
Mile.
Put a S in front, and we have
smile.
Wrap.
Wrap.
Put a T in front, and we have
trap.
Ravel.
Ravel.
Put a T in front, and we have
travel.
Good job. Lock.
Lock.
Put a B in front, and we have
block.
Good job adding phonemes. All right, now we're going to switch to deleting phonemes or taking a sound away. Watch me as I do it first. So I would say something like blonde, and then you would say blonde. Then I would say take the B away, and we have, you would say lawned. Good job. All right, let's give this a try. Clock.
Clock.
Take the K away, and we have
lock.
Good work. Fly.
Fly.
Take the F away, and we have
lie.
Good. Glove.
Glove.
Take the G away, and we have
love.
Good. Blow.
Blow.
Take the B away, and we have
low.
Good work. Close.
Close.
Take the K away, and we have
lows.
Good job. Claim.
Claim.
Take the K away, and we have
lame.
Good work. Glow.
Glow.
Take the G away, and we have
low.
Last one. Plug.
Plug.
Take the P away, and we have
lug.
Good job deleting phonemes. All right, let's try something else. I think you're ready for something a little bit trickier. Now we're going to try substituting phonemes. So listen first as I try it first, and then you'll join me. We're only trying 5 for today. So I would say low, and then you would say low, and I would say change the ul to sul, and we have slow. All right, let's try this. We only got 4 or 5 to try. So, slow.
Slow.
Change the sul to sh, and we have
show.
Good job. Show.
Show.
Change the sh to gul, and we have
glow.
Good work. Glow.
Glow.
Change the gul to bull, and we have
blow.
Good job. Blow.
Blow.
Change the bull to full, and we have
flow.
Good job. You did excellent work today, adding, deleting, and substituting phonemes. I can't wait to see you next week.
Hi, second grade. This is Mr. Parker, and I'm here to share a story with you today called The Other Book of World Records. This story was written by Torrin Anderson, and it was illustrated by Jeff Ebler. Have you ever read a world record book? Like maybe the Guinness World Book of Records? These types of books are actually nonfiction and they come out once a year and they describe all sorts of amazing things that people around the world do. Maybe it's the person who has the longest fingernails in the world or the person who's eaten the most pizzas in the world. If you were going to be in a record book like this, what amazing thing would you do? Well, the story that we're going to read today is actually not a nonfiction true story. This is a make-believe fiction story. It's about a girl named Ruby and her brother Shorty and what they do to make their own record in the other book of world records. As I read this story, think about this focus question. How did Shorty get into the other book of world records? After we read, come back to that and make sure you can answer it. All right, here we go. The other book of world records. There's some vocabulary words to know in this story as well. Concentrate, making, pogo stick, records, recruited, and witness. Remember, as you're reading, if you're not sure what one of these words, which will be in bold print, means, look at the words around it, look at the illustrations, or turn to the back of the book and check it out in the glossary. Today, you're getting into the other book of world records, Ruby told her brother. What's that? Shorty asked. Ruby held up a pad of paper. It's the record book I'm working on. The other book, she said. But I don't have my pogo stick, Shorty said. You don't need it, Ruby said. Stand on one leg and recite the ABCs. Shorty stood on one leg and began the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E. The kids on the basketball court stopped their game to stare at Shorty. A kid named Ben came over. ABCs, huh? He said. What are you in kindergarten? He's setting a record and he needs to concentrate, Ruby said. Ben turned to look at Ruby. What's your job? Ben asked. I'm the officiator, Ruby said, the witness to prove he really did it. Did what? Ben asked. Anyone could do what he's doing. Oh yeah, Ruby said. Well, my brother is going to do it while chewing bubble gum. Ruby pulled out a piece of gum and tossed it to her brother. Shorty popped the gum in his mouth and continued reciting the alphabet. F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Ah, that's nothing, Ben said. You ought to blow bubbles instead. And if you want to set a real record, let me get my pogo stick. Ben dashed into the nearest apartment building. Shorty winked at Ruby. Ben didn't know that Shorty was a pogo stick master. Ben came back with his pogo stick. Try jumping on one leg, he said. Shorty picked up the pogo stick and began bouncing. Once he got going, he started jumping on one leg. Everyone from the playground came to see what was happening. Ah, that's not so hard, Ben said. Let's see him jump through a human maze. There's no such thing as a human maze, Ruby said. Sure there is, Ben said. It's a maze made out of people. Shorty bounced on the pogo stick. Can I switch legs? He asked. Ben and Ruby both shook their heads. Call everybody you know, Ruby announced. My brother is going to set a new world record inside a human maze. Tell them to come quick, Shorty yelled. Some people pulled out their phones and started calling their friends. Others ran into the building to invite their families. Ben raced to the tennis courts and recruited more kids for the maze. Hurry up, Shorty screamed. I'm getting tired. Shorty was sweating on the pogo stick. Still jumping, he started to move through the human maze. People cheered him on as he blew his biggest bubble, bouncing all the while. Shorty turned a corner in the maze. The pogo stick wobbled, but Shorty did not fall off. At the end of the maze, he leapt off the pogo stick and collapsed on the ground. "A new world record!" Ruby yelled. Everyone cheered and rushed over to Shorty. He reached up his hand to give high fives to everybody. Before he had finished, Ruby had already written that up as a new record, too. "Not bad, Shorty," Ben said. "Thanks," Shorty said to Ben. "Now it's your turn." Ben high-fived him and stepped back. "No," Shorty said. "Your turn to get into the other book of world records." Ben looked shocked. "Me?" he gasped. "No, I don't." Ruby winked at Shorty. "Step right up," she yelled. "We've got a new world record in the making." And that, friends, is the end of the story. Remember that focus question from the beginning? How did Shorty get into the other book of world records? Make sure you can answer that question now. And if you can't, go back and read the story again. Here's that glossary that I also mentioned at the beginning. Here are those vocabulary words in bold print that we found in the story. Make sure you understand what each of those words means, and if not, here's a great definition for you to read, and it reminds you of the page number so you can go back and find the word again. And here are some great connection activities that you can do after reading the story. Here's a great one about writing and art. What do you think Ben will do to set his own world record? Remember how Ruby and Shorty told him that it was his turn next at the end of the story? Add a new page to the story that shows what happens next with Ben. And here's a social studies connection. Choose 5 records from the Guinness World Records. For each one, label on a map the country and the city where the record was set. You could compare your map with a partner's if someone in your home or a friend wanted to do the same activity. Second graders, thank you so much for listening to this story and reading along with me. I hope that you continue to read many, many books at home. Stay safe and stay well, and I'll see you next time.
Hello, my name is Pamela Clark, and I'm the resource teacher for the gifted at Campbell Elementary School in Arlington. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you a critical and creative thinking strategy that you can use alongside the book, The Other Book of World Records. This is exciting for me because I love math, and there's some math in this book if we take it that next step. Plus, it's using a critical and creative thinking tool, but it's mostly using creativity, which is a lot of fun for me too. Always when I am reading a book, I like to think about a big idea, and that's a thinking strategy too. When we read a book and are looking for the big idea, we're really having to think, what's the message in that book? What's it trying to teach me or tell us? What could it tell everybody? And then I'm going to introduce the strategy Scamper to you, which is a lot of fun. So what's the big idea in the book? Let's think about it. The little girl, Ruby, is creating an other book of world records, and she's having Shorty stand on one foot and say the ABCs. And then she changes it so he has to chew gum too. And then he has to chew gum and bounce on a pogo stick. And then he has to blow bubbles with the gum on the pogo stick. And then he has to go through the human maze on the pogo stick with the blowing the bubbles. She's combining all of those things together. So what's the big idea or lesson in this book? I think it's that we can think of lots of creative ways to challenge ourselves. So this little girl, Ruby, really thought of some interesting ways to challenge Shorty, and all of the kids were amazed. It sounds like she was going to go on to do another world record with the next kid too. Today we're going to try the thinking strategy Scamper. And Scamper stands for S, substitute, so put something in the place of something else, combine, put two things together, adapt, so change it, make it smaller or bigger, minimize or maximize, put something to other uses, eliminate it, get rid of it altogether, or just rearrange things. So those letters all go together to spell scamper. And we can use that as a strategy to remember the strategy. So I would love for you to go get a pencil and paper and write down on your paper the word scamper down the side of your paper with a pencil or pen. Go ahead and go get that. I'm going to do it too. I'm going to write SCAMPER. It's going to help me remember what we were just talking about, scamper. Go ahead and write that on your paper. It's going to help you remember those different pieces as we work on this together. Okay. Let's think about it in relation with the book, Scamper and the Other Book of World Records. Well, first, Ruby substituted. She substituted standing on one foot instead of a pogo stick because first Shorty wanted to use a pogo stick. Then she combined ABCs and standing on one foot. She put those two together. Then she adapted it and said chewing gum while saying the ABCs. So she's changing things up a little bit. Then she maximized that gum by having him blow bubbles while he's using the pogo stick to hop. She's putting those people to other uses because she's making a human maze. She's not really eliminating anything. She did it first. At first, she eliminated the pogo stick, but then she added it back in. She's rearranging those people to make it harder for him to jump through the maze because they're going to be in different weaving lines so that he can hop through them. So that is some rearranging. So now what I want you to do is think about that scamper, and we're going to think about some things that you could do at home to create your own book of records, your other book of records. So let's look at some things you have to think about when you are creating some kind of record. You can look at things that are fast, the fastest that you can do something. So you could time yourself making your bed. Who can do it fastest in your family? Or can you do it fast one day, but even faster the next day and faster the next day? You could take your time all week long to see what you're the fastest at. But we could also use Scamper, and instead of making our bed, we could time folding our clothes. Or we could actually combine it with all of the things you have to do to get ready for bed. So like putting on your pajamas and picking out your favorite book to read and then jumping under the covers and getting you all snuggled and ready. Like who can do that fastest in your family? So you're adapting it to make it a nighttime routine instead of a morning one. You could also do it with paper folding, like folding some kind of piece of origami and seeing who's fastest at that. Or sorting and rolling a pair of socks. Who's fastest at that? Or the first person to roll them or fold them. Some families like them folded. Some families like them rolled. You could try either. Rolling them up, and then what you do is just kind of flip it over so it's all in a ball. You could do seeing how far things can go, like throwing a paper ball. You could throw a paper ball, but then you could substitute it actually for a balloon. Blow up a balloon and make it maybe bigger or smaller, maximize or minimize. Try throwing that balloon and see how far it goes. Or if it's a hot day, you could rearrange things and actually put water in it and make a water balloon and see how far you can throw that water balloon. Or you could hop on one foot or roll a ball in the grass. If you have a skate, you could put like a little animal on the skate and roll that. So see how we're just changing things up? And then you could measure how far something went with a trusty yardstick. See how far you can make it go. When we're thinking about a book of records, we often think of things that are the est, the tallest, the smallest, the oldest, the stickiest, the softest, the hardest. So let's think about things like that. the tallest block tower that you could build. But maybe you don't have blocks. Do you have dominoes? Ooh, and if you have dominoes, maybe you could do the most dominoes that you could line up and knock over. Do you see how my mind is scampering? Or if you didn't want to do that, maybe you could make a tower with marshmallows, those big marshmallows, and you could stack them up. And then that makes my mind scamper some more. And I think, gee, I'd love to eat some marshmallows, but we don't want to get ourselves sick. We never want to do a world record on something that could hurt ourselves or make ourselves feel bad. So we could try stuffing as many marshmallows as we can in our mouth without eating them and without swallowing them. Gee, I wonder how many my cheeks could hold. We could try baking the smallest cookie. And one of the rules is it couldn't burn. It has to be small, but not so small that it would burn. Or figure out what your oldest stuffed animal is and measure that in years. You can think about the things that you have most of in your house, the most stuffed animals, the most shoes, the most rolls of toilet paper. You can think about the things that you can do most of in a minute. How many hearts could you draw on a piece of paper? How many times could you write, I love you? How many math problems could you solve in just 1 minute? Or the most in a day. How many pages can you sit down and read during one day? How many people could you wave at when you're on your walk or through your window? How many postcards or emails could you write and send in one day? So now let's try doing Scamper together on our own, thinking about our own family book of records. So let's think about this. I'm going to try this, and we're going to use some strategies together and see if we can try some of these things that you might try at home. For instance, I love to go on nature hikes, and one of the things I did was I went out and looked for the longest blade of grass I could possibly find. And look what I found. Look how long that is. So I'm going to take my yardstick and I'm going to hold it at one end and I'm going to measure it and see how far it goes. Wow, it goes all the way up to 32 inches here, 32 inches. So 32-inch long piece of grass. Another thing I did was I was walking around on my nature walk and I found the largest clover leaves I've ever seen. They're so huge. Usually clovers are so tiny, but look how small this one is. Look how large this one is. So if I took the biggest leaf of that, and it's starting to wilt, but if I took the biggest of those leaves and used my centimeter ruler and then put it on there to try to measure that leaf, let's see how long that leaf is in the middle. Can you see? It's about 5 centimeters, just about 5 centimeters on my ruler. So that's fun. I could also think about, I have a lot of stuffed animals. In fact, I counted them. I have 49 stuffed animals in this room with me. 49. That's a lot. Then I decided I wanted to find out what the softest stuffed animal that I have. And I petted them all. And I found that it's this very soft baby tiger that I have. He's so soft. He's softer than any of my other stuffed animals. So he wins for the softest. I also looked for my oldest stuffed animal. This stuffed animal was given to my grandpa when he was a baby, when he was just first born. And my grandpa, if he were still alive, would be 102 years old. So this bunny is 102 years old. That's the oldest stuffed animal I have here at my house. 102. You know what? I want to see how many hearts I can draw in a minute. So I'm going to use my iPad and I'm going to look up the clock on my iPad. And I can find the clock on my iPad somewhere here. I can search for it. Here it is there. Okay. See the clock on your iPad? It's circle. And if I click on that clock, I can actually choose stopwatch. and I can time myself doing stuff. So let's see me time myself doing some things. I'm going to time myself making as many hearts as I can in a minute. I could substitute stars, but I'm going to try to do hearts. So how many hearts can you make in a minute? Why don't you try this too? When I say go, we're going to start making hearts on our paper. Go. Stop. Okay. If you count up your hearts, you can see how many you made. I grouped mine in tens, and so I have 10, 20, 30, 39 39 hearts that I made in 1 minute. You could also see how fast you could make a paper hat. Watch me do this. Paper hats are fun to make too. So let's see how fast I can make a paper hat and fold one for us. I'm folding it in half, and I'm taking that folded side and I'm turning it down so it makes a point. Well, it's got to be even. Press that down, make that point pointy. Ooh, okay. Now I'm going to fold up the one on the side, and I'm going to flip it over, make the other side of my hat, and there it is. I did it in 31 seconds. 31 seconds for my hat. It's fun timing yourself doing different things. So what I'd like you to try over the next week is thinking about making your own family's book of records. So if we think about the one that I made, the longest blade of grass I found was 32 inches. The biggest clover leaf, 5 centimeters. My softest stuffed animal was the baby tiger. I have 49 stuffed animals. My oldest stuffed animal is the white rabbit, who's 102 years old. And the most hearts drawn in a minute was 39. Wonder if you can make a list of those. You could actually make one for your whole family if they want to participate too. But it's a lot of fun measuring things and finding things and really looking for things and using Scamper to adapt and change things and just make a really fun, different kind of book of records. The Guinness Book of World Records is so fun to look at too. And there's even a website called kids.guinnessworldrecords.com that has lots of fun ideas for things that you can try at home to challenge yourself. So I hope that over this next week, you'll try finding the fastest, the tallest, the oldest, the softest, the longest, the biggest, the tiniest of lots of different things around you and have fun using Scamper and making your own book of records. Thanks for joining us today. Stay safe, stay well, and stay thinking.
Hi everyone, Miss Aronson from Nottingham Elementary here. Today we're going to do some work with your sight words. So go ahead and pull out your sight word list. It's on the May calendar. And the other thing you're going to be needing is some workout clothes because we're going to be moving around. So what I want you to do is you're going to pick a word and an exercise. So for example, I'm going to pick the word every, and I'm going to pick jumping jacks. So with every letter, I'm going to say it out loud, and I'm going to do one jumping jack for each letter. So here's an example. Every. E-V-E-R-Y. Then you can repeat it, you can do it again, or you can pick another one. So I'm gonna pick, what's another good word? Always, okay? So always, I'm gonna choose, what's another good exercise? I'm gonna do squats. Okay, always. A, L, W, A, Y, S. Always. Okay, I'm going to pick another word now and another exercise. How about between? And if you haven't been already, go ahead and do this one with me. So for between, I'm going to do high knees. I'm going to be out of breath for this one, but that's okay. We can do it together. Ready? Between. B-E-T-W-E-E-N. Whew. I'm glad that word wasn't very long. Okay, next word. Let's do, you think we can do push-ups? I think we can do push-ups. Okay, I'm gonna pick a long word. I'm gonna challenge our bodies here. Let's try together. I'm gonna angle the camera down. Oh, why did I pick such a long word? Ready? T-O-G-E-T-H-E-R. That was a hard one. Let's do one more together. Maybe two more. Okay, let's do the word soon and do crunches. Ready? S-O-O-N. All right. One more for good measure. I'm gonna pick a hard exercise, but an easy word. Do you know what burpees are? Burpees are pretty hard, so, okay, let me show you what a burpee is first. Actually, you can just follow along. Let's do the word sea, like I went sailing in the sea. Okay, I hope you can, this isn't the best view. Ready? S, E, A, and that's how you spell sea. So you can pick as many words as exercises as you want. I'm a little out of breath. Some other exercises you could do are lunges. You can do lunges. You can do jump squats. You can do more jumping jacks. You can do, I don't know what these are called, but those are fun. High knees. You can run in place. Yeah, have fun with it. Get a little workout in. Maybe you can do it outside. The weather has been gorgeous. I hope you guys have fun. Have a great day. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Mrs. Clark and I'm a second grade teacher at Alice Westfleet Elementary School. I'm excited to be here with you all today to read a nonfiction text titled Incredible Places to Stay. Remember, nonfiction means that the writing in this book is based upon true, real information. So keep in mind that the places in this book are places that you or I can one day choose to visit. Have you ever stayed at a hotel made out of ice? How about a hotel completely underwater? Incredible Places to Stay explores these hotels and many other fascinating hotels all around the world. Read with me. Incredible Places to Stay. Incredible Places to Stay. Get ready to go on a tour of some of the world's most amazing hotels. You'll swim to the bottom of the sea, sleep in a cave, and meet different animals. Pack your bags and let's go. Throughout this book, you will see different nonfiction text features, like the table of contents that tells us the key topics in the book and the pages they're located on, and the map that shows where the hotels are located in each of the continents. Let's continue. The first hotel is about sliding with sharks. The first stop on your tour is the Golden Nugget, a hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. How would you like to swim with sharks? A 30-foot water slide winds its way through a huge water tank filled with sharks. After you ride, you can take a tour of the shark tank. You will receive a real shark's tooth to help you remember your adventure. The caption is another nonfiction text feature underneath the photograph above to explain what's happening in the picture. Here, a visitor slides through a shark tank at the Golden Nugget. Is that a hotel you'd like to visit? Maybe you'd rather have a cool place to stay. The next stop on your tour is the Hôtel de Glace, located outside of Quebec City, Canada. How cool is it? It's a work of art made of ice. The rooms, halls, and most of the furniture are carved out of ice. It all melts away in the warm weather. Artists and workers spend about 40 days every winter building it. Here, an artist made a picture on the ice wall. You'll need to wear your heavy winter clothes during your stay. It's as cold as a freezer in there. You'll sleep in a special sleeping bag because the beds are made out of ice. I'm not sure that that's the hotel for me. I like warmer climates. Let's go to the next one. Breakfast with giraffes. From Canada, you'll travel to Giraffe Manor in Kenya. The forests around the hotel are home to some of the tallest giraffes in the world. Every morning, the giraffes leave the forest for the hotel. They stick their heads through open windows and doors. Guests feed breakfast to the giraffes. Profits made by the hotel support endangered animals. Here you'll notice some bold words, which is another nonfiction text feature. Bold words are important words that you'll find defined, what they mean, in the glossary at the end of the book. Here, profits mean extra money. Money made by the hotel supports the endangered animals. These giraffes are endangered. They need to be protected so that they don't become extinct. And the money that the guests pay to feed breakfast to the giraffes help to keep them alive. Maybe you'd like to stay at our next hotel, in the trees. The next stop on your tour is Sweden. There, you'll find the Tree Hotel, a hotel made up of strange tree houses. 6 treehouse rooms hang 14 to 20 feet off the ground. One room, the Mirror Cube, is covered with glass. This treehouse blends in with the woods. So if you look at that photograph above, the caption below it says, "Can you spot the Mirror Cube among the treetops?" Wow, it's camouflaged in there. Branches around the bird's nest treehouse make it look like the home of a giant bird. Another treehouse looks like a UFO from outer space. Or maybe you would prefer a room without a view. While you're in Sweden, it is only a short drive to the deepest hotel room in the world. The Sala Silver Mine Hotel sits on top of an old silver mine. Most of the rooms in the hotel are near the mine's opening. You can also spend a night hundreds of feet underground in the mine suite. It is located more than 500 feet beneath the surface. Dress in warm clothes. The temperature in the mine is only about 28 degrees Fahrenheit. However, the room is warmed to 64 degrees Fahrenheit. that would feel more comfortable. Sleeping with fish. The last stop on your tour is Jules Undersea Lodge in the Florida Keys. Be prepared to get wet. The lodge is 21 feet underwater. You'll need scuba gear to get to your room. For dinner, you can even order a pizza. Someone from the hotel will swim it down to you in a watertight box. So visitors can watch for fish through a porthole window. And scuba time! The hotel offers a beginner's scuba program for divers over 10 years old. If you are under 10 years old, you can still snorkel on the surface of the water and come back when you are older. So as a conclusion, to end our book today, from the forests of Africa to the bottom of the sea, amazing hotels are everywhere. These incredible places to stay offer you far more than just a bed for the night. They'll offer you an experience that you'll never forget. Look at this polar bear fun. Tundra Lodge in Manitoba, Canada, looks like a train on huge wheels. The hotel moves over snow so that guests can get very close to polar bears. Look at this last nonfiction text feature, the glossary. We spoke about that earlier. The words that are important in the story that were bolded are here, along with their definitions, their meanings. The words in this glossary are blends, endangered, hotels, incredible, profits, and tour. So we were talking about profits with the Giraffe Hotel, how the owners of the Giraffe Hotel were using the money that they earned after they paid all of their business costs. They used their extra money to help the giraffes because they were endangered or in danger of dying out completely and becoming extinct. I hope that you enjoyed this book today. I enjoyed reading with you. I wonder, have you thought about which hotel you would prefer to visit one day?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Trainer. I am a resource teacher for the gifted at McKinley Elementary School here in Arlington Public Schools. I'd like to start by thanking you for tuning in, and I hope that you and your family are healthy and well as you watch this video. This video is going to talk about the text Incredible Places to Stay, which was a perfect text for our family at this point in time because we haven't really traveled very much at all in the last couple of months. And to read a text that took us all over the world and see such incredible places to stay was a really enjoyable text to kind of experience. So to quickly recap, this was a text that featured a variety of incredible hotels. The four that I've selected here were just some of my favorites. There was the hotel in Las Vegas that had sort of an aquarium and a water park. There was a submarine underwater sort of hotel experience. A frozen experience, if you will, where the rooms were carved of snow and ice. And then the treetops, where you had these imaginative and almost like impossible to see, almost optical illusion sort of treehouse rooms attached to the tops of these trees. So throughout the text, I started to make connections between the experiences that the visitors were having here and my own experiences as a kid as we traveled to visit my grandfather in Georgia when I was probably a second grader. We drove all the way from Connecticut down to Georgia. And the way that we got there was in this sort of what we call, I think it's called a conversion van. And when my sister and I opened the doors, we were amazed by what was in there. There was like a table where we could play games, and we had cup holders so we could, drink soda on the ride down because it was a special trip. And there were little bunks up in the top of the van so my sister and I could sleep if we got tired. So this idea of combining like a hotel room with a car got me thinking about a particular critical and creative thinking strategy that I'm going to share with you in this video. And that strategy is called Scamper. And it is one that supports creativity and imagination. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that word means and why I selected it as it relates to this text. So to start out, to give you a little bit of an idea of what Scamper is, in addition to being a strategy, there's an acronym, which is a way that we kind of think about combining letters to shrink down a longer word or phrase to help us remember it. So if we think about the idea of Roy G. Biv, that's an acronym we use to help remember colors of the rainbow in this case. When we think of what UFO stands for, a much longer way of describing it is an unidentified flying object. UFO is just shorter. Emojis are like pictures that capture ideas that are much, much shorter in nature, right? It's a picture that represents 3 words, laugh out loud. And just the LOL part is where you get the acronym. Now, Scamper is a longer word, got more parts, and it stands for what you see on the left-hand side. S is for substitute, C is combine, adapt is where we get the letter A, M is modify, which can be magnify, which means to kind of make bigger, or minify to make things smaller. P, we put things to other uses. E, we can eliminate things. And R, we can rearrange things. So why did I choose Scamper with the text Incredible Places to Stay? Well, I thought that each room was an example of one of those letters. Here, you can see that the furniture of a traditional hotel room has been replaced or substituted with ice furniture. And so that first one, we get the letter S, substitute, by thinking about how they substituted furniture. Combine. I love this one. They combined 2 things that I love at this hotel: water park, aquarium, to experience this idea of seeing what's inside those tanks while going down that water slide. An amazing combination in my mind. When you think about adapting, the way that this hotel had to adapt the way they provided room service, which if you ever had that, maybe you're too tired after a long trip or you don't want to go down and get breakfast, they'll bring food to you. Usually they'll roll it on a cart or someone will come up with a tray. That's not going to work underwater. So in this case, they use scuba divers to deliver things like pizza underwater. Modify. Now, I've seen tree houses before. They're usually wood, right? They use a lot of the features of the environment around them. I've not seen walls that have been modified and made out of glass before until I saw what they call the mirror cube. It blends into the environment. It's almost like actually hard to see it. Putting things to other uses. Now, branches can be used for bunches of things, right? Like you might use them to start like a campfire. My daughter walks around the neighborhood, pretends they're swords. But here, the designers of this room used these branches to make a design that resembled a giant bird's nest. Eliminate. Now, I thought this was going to be tricky because I couldn't think, well, what did they get rid of? And then the stone underground room came to mind. Well, they eliminated sunshine. If it's underground, you're not going to have the light from the sun. And here they use candles to light up the room. Now, rearranging, if you think about setting up a hotel that's going to have wildlife have breakfast with the guests, you've got to rearrange where the tables are so that the giraffes, if they peek their head in, can get to the food. So the designers here had to be very creative in how they arrange and rearrange the furniture so that this guest can have an experience where they can have breakfast with a giraffe. So now it's your turn. We're going to take the ideas that all of the designers of the hotels came up with and give you the opportunity to do it. And to start out, maybe we'll just need a pencil and paper. When my son and I did this together, he just imagined most of it in his head. He didn't write anything down. But if you want to scribble down your thoughts, you certainly could. So pencil, paper would be all you would need in the beginning. Now, if you get really excited and really want to kind of design that hotel room, you will need some other stuff. Construction paper, crayons, markers. If you have like recyclable stuff like empty cereal boxes, or if you have tissue boxes, shoe boxes, any cans that you think might make for a cool hotel room, use that sort of stuff. But to get started, pencil, paper, or if that's not nearby, you just keep it in your head. So here's how we started this process when my son and I tried it out. First thing I asked him, I said, well, who do you think is going to use the room? And he said, me. I want to do it. And so that was where we started. But it doesn't have to be a hotel room for kids. It could be for your pet. It could be for like a fish. That one I thought of the aquarium. I thought, well, maybe a shark wants a hotel. That would be pretty cool. Stuffed animal. Maybe they want one. What if it's a giant, like massive, like 40-foot person comes and says, I need a hotel room. Well, what's that going to look like? Or a wizard. What would a wizard want from a hotel room? Now, these 6 ideas are not like the only options. You might think of some other ones and you say, oh, you know what? I want to make one. We've been out in the garden a lot. I've seen a lot of worms. I would like to make an apartment for the worms. Or maybe you like this idea of the giant and you want, I'm going to make one for something really big, but like a dinosaur. a dinosaur hotel room. It's up to you. There's no correct way to choose who it's going to be for. But once you do know who you're going to make this room for or what you're going to make it for, we can start thinking about what we're going to scamper. Okay, where? It does not need to be in Arlington. Okay, you can make it anywhere. The size, completely up to you. You can make it any shape you want. It can be made out of anything you want. Furniture, clearly we saw that the ice furniture was an option, whatever you want to make your furniture out of. Whether it is windows or special features or decorations, it's entirely up to you. You can change all of those things from what a traditional hotel room looks like. Now, to give you an example of what we tried in our house, I asked my son, all right, it's for kids. What do you imagine it looking like? And he said, a sandwich. And I said, okay, tell me more. He said, well, the bottom floor is like the bread floor. And then there's like the meat floor, then the cheese floor, like pickle floor, and then like more bread on the top. I said, is it made out of those things? He's like, no, like, how could it be made out of those things? You got to stay in the room. He said, the rooms are like normal rooms, but it's just like a theme of cheese. And so I said, all right, so you have a hotel room for people who love cheese. What does it look like? And he said, okay, well, the wall, I imagine the wall looking like Swiss cheese. Like it has holes in it and you could put like little things in there, like little cubbies. And he said the clock would be like one of those wheels of cheese. And then the beds would be, you take like the wedges of cheese, like the triangly ones, but you'd need to like combine them so you could actually sleep on it. And he kept going and going and going. And he had his favorite feature. He had two really. One was a lava lamp, which is like this little lamp that sort of looks like a cone, almost like a little sort of a pyramid. And it's usually filled with like colorful, like oozy, bubbly goo. I don't really actually know what's inside of it. He wanted his filled with cheese. Okay. The other thing that he really wanted was a fondue pot, which is one of those things where like it melts the cheese and you dunk bread in it. That was like his other thing. So he wanted to like have all the decorations be cheese and he wanted to be able to eat cheese in his hotel room. And so that was how he did it. That was his idea. Now the challenge for us is, can we kind of figure out what materials we would need to make that cheese themed room? Now, if you don't love that idea, not a big deal. I want to leave you with a couple family engagement tips that can give you other options for using Scamper. And we actually use these in our house, and we actually used them last night when we were making dinner. So food, creative adventures in the kitchen are common in our house. We usually have a lot of leftovers. Everyone is sort of tired of eating what we had earlier in the week. So last night we looked at a bunch of leftovers and we said, okay, now I didn't say like we're going to scamper our dinner tonight, but we did. We thought about, all right, we're going to combine stuff. What do we have that we didn't use the first time together that we could use this time? So we found some turkey, we found some bacon, and we found some ranch dressing. And we chopped them all up and we combined them to spread onto some bread. My son said, we need something crunchy. What can we add? We added pickles, and we also had cucumbers, which are sort of like pickles, but just without a lot of that pickling sour taste. And then we added some French fries. And the one thing that we eliminated from this meal that we usually always have with French fries, we eliminated ketchup, and we replaced it with my son's favorite kind of vinegar called malt vinegar. So when you think about Scamper at home, food is like the first place that comes to mind for me. And I included the picture of those like really creative donuts because they are scampered in my mind, right? Like there are all sorts of unusual combinations to make this new type of donut. The last picture is a stamp that shows a Rube Goldberg invention. And the idea of Rube Goldberg is really popular at McKinley and a lot of these maker spaces. And the idea is to build something really, really complicated to achieve a fairly simple task. And in the stamp, you see that one of the last letters is letter N, and that's got like a napkin that is wiping his face after he eats. So in order to, wipe your face with a napkin, it's not hard. You just pick one up and you wipe your face. But a Rube Goldberg invention puts all those other steps from A, B, C, all the way to N so that he can eventually wipe his face. And it's connected to a clock, okay? So that you can get an idea of just how complicated it can be with a Rube Goldberg invention. Some easy things to do is if you've got something at your house, make a Rube Goldberg machine to knock it over. Okay, if we've got loads of things that we can kind of stand up, whether it's like a domino or whether it's like a Lego figure. And if we were just like to roll a ball at it, not super complicated. But what if you said you need to make 5 steps or 5 things that can happen before you knock over the Lego figure or before you knock over the domino? And there's like absolutely no right way to do it, but everyday household materials will do the trick. Okay, so this video hopefully gives you a sense of what you can try to use Scamper in your family.
Hi, Arlington families. I'm Mrs. Cowden. I'm the reading teacher at Fleet. One of the questions I get asked frequently is, how do I get my child to read? Or, my child doesn't like to read. What can I do? The first thing I would tell you is to see if the books are too hard. If there are more than 3 words on a page your child does not immediately recognize or recognize with very little work, that text or book is probably too hard. It would be much better for the child to read something a little bit easier and build some confidence. The next thing I would suggest is to try reading the book with your child, either alternating pages or paragraphs. That time together would be really appreciated by your child. The next thing I would also suggest is to pick different characters to play in the book. You could be one character and your child could be another, and you could read back and forth. Choice is another important element. Children need to have choice in what books they read. They could read nonfiction or fiction, graphic novels, poetry, recipes, reader's theater. Any text or book with more white on the page can be less intimidating for a reluctant reader. So try to see if you can find a book with more picture support and less text so that they can feel more accomplished and successful. Try to get your child enthused about a series. You could read the first book to them and then encourage them to read the next book in the series if they enjoy it. That gets the child familiar with the characters, how the author writes, the settings, the problems and solutions that might occur in the series, and it helps them build confidence when they're reading a book in a series. You and your child could read the same book and then talk about it. I know when my children were struggling to get a book they liked, we would read the book together. And I would ask questions like, weren't you surprised when? Or can you believe this happened? Remember, when your child is not engaged or happy about reading, try to keep it easy. Let them choose what they would like to read. And the best part for them is being with you. So make it a special time to have you with them.
Hi everyone, my name is Miss Berg and I teach 2nd and 3rd grade at Campbell Elementary. I'm here today for our 2nd grade At Home with APS math lesson, and our topic is equality. I bet this year during social studies, you studied equality when you were talking about famous Americans. Some of the people we studied, like Martin Luther King Jr., Cesar Chavez, Thurgood Marshall, and Helen Keller, they worked for equality for all people. And equality means that everyone's being treated the same. Well, math equality is a little bit different. It is about things being the same. It's about the value of things being the same. And we can talk about equality using these 2 symbols, the equal sign and the not equal sign. Let's start with a warm-up. First, let's remember what those 2 symbols mean. This is the equal sign. It means that whatever is on both sides has the same value. It's worth the same amount. And this is the not equal sign. It means whatever is on both sides does not have the same value. It does not have the same amount. So for our warm-up, let's look at 2 expressions. Here we have 14 minus 6 on one side and 10 minus 2 on the other side. What symbol should we put in between? Equal or not equal? Let's hear from one of the students at Campbell about what she thinks.
I think it's equal because they're both 8.
She's right. These are equal. 14 minus 6 equals 8, and 10 minus 2 also equals 8. How about these 2? Should we say that they are equal or not equal? Let's hear what another Campbell student has to say.
They don't equal the same thing 4 plus 8 equals 12, and 4 plus 3 equals 7, which those are entirely different things. 7 is a one-digit number, and 12 is a two-digit number.
He's right. These are not equal. How about these two? 5 plus 6 and 6 plus 5. Are those equal or not equal? Let's hear what one of my students thinks.
That if you guys know that 6 is 5 is 11, and if you switch equation up, it doesn't really matter because they're still going to be the same equation.
She's got some good thinking. These are equal. And the last one. Do we think that 3 plus 8 is equal or not equal to 11 minus 7?
Not equal because 3 plus 1 is minus and 1 is plus, and of course those can equal the same number, but one of them, 3 plus 8 equals 11, but if it was 11 minus 0, it would be the same.
She's totally right. These are not equal. Did you notice how in that last video, the student thought about what should be there to make it equal? That's our learning target for today. I can balance equations by finding the missing number to make both sides equal. Balanced means both sides have the same amount. And not balanced means that they do not have the same amount. Balancing equations is when we look at an equation with a missing number and we figure out what number we can put in there to make the equal sign true, to make both sides have the same value. Let's talk about some strategies to find missing numbers. Well, let's not call it find. It's not like the numbers are lost and we can just look around for them. Instead, we can solve for the missing numbers. We can use fact families, draw a picture or use a tens frame, count on, or even use the strategy guess and check. Let's go through some practice. Just a reminder about fact families first, though. They're for related facts. You are related to the people in your family, and related facts belong together in the same way. These fact families have two inverse operations. Inverse means opposite. And operations are things like adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So, if I have the equation 4 plus 8 equals 12, I need 3 more related facts to make a fact family. This one has plus, and there's going to be one more plus equation in here. 8 plus 4 equals 12. Those two are related. They have the same 3 numbers. Then I need 2 equations of the opposite operation. And the opposite of adding, it's subtracting. 12 minus 8 equals 4. And 12 minus 4 equals 8. Those 4 facts make a fact family. We can use facts in a fact family to help us to find an equation that's easier to solve than the one that we're given. So I have the equation some number plus 7 equals 15. Well, what else is in this fact family? 7 plus that unknown number also equals 15. There are my 2 plus equations. Then I'm going to put 15 first because subtraction equations in this fact family need to start with the biggest number. 15 minus blank equals 7. And then 15 minus 7 equals blank. Let's look at those equations. Which one looks the easiest to solve to you? I think this one looks the easiest because the two numbers that I know are on the same side, and the missing number is the one on the other side. I know that 15 minus 7 is 8. So that means I can go back to my original equation, and my fact 15 minus 7 equals 8. Since it's in the same fact family, I know the missing number in my equation is 8. 8 plus 7 equals 15. So using the fact family to find the fact that's easiest for you to solve is a good strategy to find an unknown number and balance an equation. Here's another strategy, drawing a picture. My equation is blank minus 6 equals 7. For my picture, I'm going to start with the minus 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to add to that picture with my answer, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I had some number. I took my 6 yellow ones away, and I was left with my 7 red ones. All of those ones that I drew, all of those circles that I drew, are the original number, the missing number. How many were there to start with? That's right, the missing number is 13. There were 13 to start with. I crossed out 6, and there were 7 left. A third strategy that helps to solve for missing numbers is counting on. I have this equation, 12 equals 5 plus blank. To find out what number is missing, I can start at 5 and count on it until I get to 12. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many did I count on? That's right. I counted on 7. So the missing number in this equation is 7. 12 equals 5 plus 7. The last strategy that I want to talk about with you is guess and check. Guess and check is a little bit tricky. You have to remember that it's not just guess. You have to go back and actually check it. You can use some of the strategies that we've already talked about, or a different strategy. I've got an equation, 4 equals 12 minus blank. I could take a guess and say 16, because I know that 4 plus 12 is 16, and maybe that's the right answer. That's my guess. Then I have to do what? Right, I have to check it. There are 12 circles, and I'm going to try to cross out 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Uh-oh, something went wrong, because I can't even cross out 16, and I definitely won't have 4 left. So that answer that I guessed was not correct. That's why checking is important. I'm going to start over and think 4 equals 12 minus, well, I'm going to try 8, because I know that 12 minus 4 equals 8, and maybe that's the fact family I'm looking for. Before I move on from this question, though, remember, I have to check. There's 12 circles. I'm going to cross out 8 of them to show minus 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And how many do I have left? There we go. I have 4. That's the number I was looking for to make my equation balance. So I know that 4 equals 12 minus 8. I guessed 8, but I checked it just to make sure. So our learning target today was I can balance equations by finding the missing number to make both sides equal. Remember our strategies. They were using a fact family, drawing or making a tens frame, counting on, or using guess and check. Which Which do you think is the best strategy for you to find missing numbers in equations? Why? The strategies that we talked about in this lesson are great for solving word problems. So the family math tip is actually to create a journal of word problems about situations at your home and show how to solve them. So I've taken some paper, just a couple sheets of paper, fold them in half, and then you can use a stapler to reinforce along the edge here. You can decorate the front. I kept mine pretty simple. And fill it with word problems about things in your house and show how to solve them using equations and the strategies that we talked about in this video. So I've got a story problem here in mine. My dog Zoe has 11 squeaky toys. She broke 5 of the squeakers. How many of the toys are still squeaky? So I wrote an equation here. I even labeled it. 5 are broken. Some unknown number are still squeaky. That's what I want to find out. So I put a box, and then I have 11 total toys. So I use the counting on strategy from today's video to solve my problem and say that 6 toys are still squeaky. So your child can make a set of word problems in a fun journal and even do some decorating. Maybe their art will be a little bit better than mine. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson today on At Home with APS, and we hope to see you back next week.
We hope that you have enjoyed watching APS teachers and staff bring early literacy and mathematics instruction, as well as critical and creative thinking and STEM building challenges into your home this spring. It has been such a pleasure to connect with APS families in this way, and we look forward to connecting with you again soon, later on in the summer. While we take a short break from filming new content, there are many ways that you can stay connected and continue your learning while at home. New choice boards in various content areas will be available throughout the month of July and will be available through the APS website. So until our next release of At Home with APS videos coming to you later on in the summer, we ask that you stay safe, stay healthy, and stay kind, Arlington, and we look forward to sharing more videos with you again soon. Bye!